Hello, welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection Game Day. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me, as always, my co-host, Tate Mathews. We're going to do a rundown of the WCS Sports Conference this past week, tell you what's going on, make our predictions in the second half of the show about the games this weekend. And as we know, Tate, it is coming down to the nitty-gritty of what's fixing to happen at the district tournament.
Yeah, and you've said it all along. This is going to be an exciting district tournament. If these last 2 weeks are any indicator of what the district tournament's going to be like on both sides, girls and boys, it's going to be fun. Clear-cut first place on both sides, I think, but both of them have had to fight for their lives to stay in first place. It's going to be fun.
We'll talk a little bit about that later, but I'm just going to say I'm not sure it's clear-cut right now after what I've seen this past week, but we'll talk about that later. But before we get into basketball action, let's talk real quick about what's been happening here in the WCS Sports Conference. This past week, Williamson County Ag and Expo Arena hosted the TSSAA State Championships for wrestling and the dual side. And congratulations to the Summit. Old Sparty coming through for us as the only team of the Big Six this year that it was represented there. Peter Miller has done a fantastic job with that group. Not a single senior on the team, with the number one ranked in the 118-pound class on the female side wrestler in the state right now.
Yeah, unbelievable. Just getting there by Summit. What a great job Peter Miller has done. Interesting, the first match they have, Cleveland. That's his dad, for those that didn't know. He's the head wrestling coach there. He is definitely Hall of Famer in wrestling in TSSAA history. The father taught the son. There were still a few more. I think he's got better wrestlers, but more experience. But he taught him a lesson. The father still has a few tricks up his sleeves. Put it on him pretty good. They came back and had a great match against Tullahoma. The Summit Spartan wrestling team represented us very, very well.
Very well, and I want to give a shout out to Coach Miller. There was a protest, an area there that was questionable about the weigh-in of what happened with Tullahoma. Looked for a protest. They didn't give it to him. He handled himself very well. Hopefully they'll get that worked out in the future where that won't happen again. But, Cleveland was eventual state champions, won it this year after being beat. So, I mean, it's not any shame, not any knock on those guys. Have a lot of sophomores, juniors coming back for next year, so I expect to see Old Sparty back in the duels next year. Individual tournament starting this week. We have a lot of kids spanned across the conference right now that will be participating in individuals. But best of luck to those guys, each and one from every school participating. But congratulations to the Old Sparty.
Yeah, we'll do well in the individual state tournament as a county. Brentwood, Franklin, Independence, Ravenwood, Summit, Centennial's got a few. We'll do well in the individual tournament. Have a lot of guys maybe wrestle well.
Okay, on the girls' side of the WCS Sports Conference, basketball coming down the home stretch. It's a big horse race right now between top teams. But right now on the Division II side, Fairview, Lady Jackets coming in at 5-16, 4-10, lost to Lewis County 23-44. Right now they're sitting in sixth place, kind of in the mix of things, trying to get themselves ready for that placement in the district tournament. Coach Wayne McGowan sitting at 5 wins for the year. I know he'd probably want more. Lost a couple ones very close, but having to get themselves ready for the tournament.
That's right. That's all you can do now. Get ready for the tournament. Try to play well. Win one and advance. You hear it all year long. We're only worried about the next game, and that's really what you have to do in tournament basketball.
Well, sitting in that district right now, Camden at 5-0 in first place, Creekwood 4-0, second place, Lewis County in third, East Hickman fourth, Stewart County fifth, Fairview sitting in sixth, Hickman County in seventh, Waverly in eighth, Montgomery Central ninth. Large district, anything can happen. That's the best thing about being in the middle. They're all pretty much alike. Never know what's going to happen. Page 4-17, 1-7. First district win over Cascade. Big win for Billy Mooney and his program there. 56-44 over Cascade.
Yeah, Cascade's middle of the pack. It's one they needed to win. They did win. So that's gives them confidence going into the tournament. It didn't move them up a whole lot in the standings, but a win. When you're looking at the games we can win, that was one that they could, and they took care of business. So I know Coach Mooney, Moondog as we like to call him, he had to be happy about that.
He plays Giles County this Friday night. Right now sitting in first place, CPA undefeated like their boys, mirroring their boys there. Second place, Giles County. Third place, Spring Hill. Fourth place, Cascade. Fifth place, Marshall County. Sixth place, Page. Right now, if they could pick up a win over Giles, that may give them a tiebreaker over Marshall and Cascade, and they could almost project them to be in fourth place. And that would be huge come the first round of the district tournament.
Yeah, it would. Unfortunately, unlike the boys' side, Giles County's number 2 to the CPA girls, and they're good. They've played CPA well both games this year. So a tough task, but it can be done. You're right.
Anything can happen. We talk about 3 seasons. We talk about the first before Christmas. You have your preseason, if you will. You're getting those non-district games out of the way, maybe a few district games. You come back from Christmas, you're in the meat of your schedule. Then the third part of the season is going into the tournament. Everybody's 0-0. You lose that first game, you can win 25 games in season. You lose that first game of the district, you're going home just like everybody else.
That's right, and that's why it's a tournament sport.
And you got to love it. March Madness coming right around the corner. My favorite time of the year by far is to be around that first round of the district tournament. Anything can happen.
Me too.
Moving over into the Big Six. Brentwood right now, Lady Bruins, Coach Sig's groups right now, his program sitting at 21-3. They're rolling 10-1. Big win over Ravenwood in the Battle of the Woods 2, 44-38. I'm telling you right now, I've been around gyms my entire life. I've been coaching, I've been playing. And Tate, I'm not so sure that was not the best atmosphere I have ever been around.
It really is. It's unbelievable. It's been like that for years now. And if you haven't been there, you don't know. But, I mean, I was talking to Coach King. I said, hey, what time do we need to get here to make sure we got a seat? Second quarter, halftime of the girls' game. He looked at me like he said, you better be here before the beginning of the girls' game. I mean, where else does that happen? Packed, and the students, did they ever sit down? They were standing up the whole game, energy the whole game, carried over to the boys. Great environment.
The only time they sat down, they have a little thing coming out second half. They stay seated until the first score from Brentwood happens, and then they get right back up. Now, there were people putting their seats, their bleacher seats, in the bleachers midway through the JV game. So they were already showing up, JV game, ready for action, 15 to 20 deep in each of the doors. It was an amazing atmosphere. 3/4 of one side was completely Brentwood student section only. So if they were innocent bystanders coming to watch the game that night, that was a bad night to pick. But unbelievable atmosphere, 44-38, very close contest. I know Mariska Harris is probably not exactly thrilled about that, but I'm going to tell you right now, Brentwood better look out for the Ravenwood Lady Raptors come down in tournament time if they happen to match up together.
Yeah, she's got them playing well. We've talked about it all year. They're young. Their best player, Kiera Downey, is a freshman. She's not a typical freshman. But so now, as a basketball coach, we're starting to hit this time of year. She's not really a freshman anymore. She's almost like a sophomore. She's playing very, very well. The Alexis Alert girl, the center, she plays very well. You're right. She's got them playing very well. She's played them tight both games. That's got to give them confidence. So you're right. The Lady Raptors could make some noise in the tournament.
Well, my girl Jessie Boozer, I always talk about Jessie. She's kind of like the Austin Percy of the ladies' side. Kind of goes unheralded, not talked about. Brings a lot of small things to the table. Knocks down her free throws down the stretch to make sure to ensure the win for the Brentwood Lady Bruins down the stretch there. Like I said, very close. Came down to free throw shooting contest. Brentwood makes it. Centennial. Lady Cougars right now got their first district win over Indy. Great win for Coach Hill and his group. 51-37. Played well. That could give you a little bit of insight of what could possibly happen in a tournament. You never know what's going to happen.
That's right. We've not to keep hitting the same drum, but we've talked about him. I love what he's doing with the Lady Cougars. They're getting better. We got to see them when we had game day at Ravenwood. They were up on Ravenwood, so we're just talking about how good Ravenwood is. Centennial was up on them late and played them very, very close, had a chance to win. So Centennial getting better. If you don't go in and shoot the ball well against Centennial in the tournament, they got a chance to advance.
They're going to play the little 1-3-1. It drops back, gives you a 1-3-1 look, but as soon as the ball goes to the wing, we don't trap out of it, drops to a 2-3 to the side. And if you're not shooting the ball well, you're in trouble.
That's right.
And the young freshman, I can't think of her name off the top, that plays the top of that. She's long, lanky, very athletic. I don't know.
The Fly youngster.
Yeah.
Chantel Fly.
That's correct.
She's an athlete. She'd probably play on the football team.
And she's quick. Better look out for the Lady Cougars. Congratulations to them for getting their first district win. The Lady Rebels, another good team of what Coach Goodwin, Carrie Goodwin, has done right now. 11-13, 5-5. Beat her husband in the Battle of the Goodwins, too, down at Summit. Right there, 42-33. I'm telling you what, Lady Rebels are looking pretty good right now.
They are, and when you hear Brentwood talk about them, Dixon County talk about them, they're another one that they speak about a lot. They don't want to see the Lady Rebels come tournament time. You look at that record, and that's just why, the regular season, you can't really worry about it. 11-13, half those losses are to Riverdale and Blackman. So Lady Rebels playing very well.
They've won 3 of their last 4, so I'd be looking for Frank and the Lady Rebels to make a move here coming in. Indy 4-21, 1-9, lost to Centennial 37-51. They have Franklin left. I know that Coach White there is looking to try to get something put together mentally, get ready for the tournament going in. Once again, they have only got one district win.
Yeah, they played Centennial tough. We're up at a time. They just have such a hard time manufacturing points. It's tough, but they're still competing and playing hard.
Ravenwood, 16-6, 6-3, lost to Brentwood as we spoke of earlier. Have won 4 of the last 5. I'm telling you right now, they have. Right now, it's unfortunate that they're sitting at 16-6, 6-3 in district. They're sitting in 3rd place, but I look for Ravenwood to be right there to knock somebody off. Brentwood, Dixon, Ravenwood. It'd be interesting to see who comes out on top of those 3 teams before it's all said and done.
They're all very similar.
Summit, 9-15, 3-7 right now. Lost to Franklin, 33-42 as we spoke earlier of the battle of the good ones. They're at Centennial. That could have implications of where they're going to finish right now in the middle of the pack. Summit sitting 4-6, sitting in 5th place. They need to get that win. Lady Spartans do, to get themselves in a position to try to advance in the tournament.
They're a lot like Centennial. They're getting better. They're going to have to play very, very good defense. If you don't shoot well against them, they have a chance.
Right now, tied for first, Dixon. Brentwood, the Lady Bruins sitting in there tied for first place. Ravenwood sitting in 3rd. Franklin in 4th. Summit in 5th. Indian 6th. Centennial in 7th. When we come back, we'll do a rundown of the boys' side. This is WCS Sports Connection Game Day. We'll be right back.
My name is Austin. Why I picked this book is why I picked Puppies is because it has really good illustrations and it had facts I never knew, and I just loved the book when I read it.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of WCS Sports Connection Game Day. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always is co-host Tate Mathews. Let's do the boys' side now of the WCS Sports Conference. Fairview, 3-18, 2-10. The last time we talked about Fairview, they were sitting on 1 win for the world. They've won 2 of the last 3. They beat Lewis County 57-51. Got to clear the benches. Everybody got to play. Congratulations to Coach King and the Jackets.
Yeah, big win. Everybody got to play. Happy night.
And, they got to win, like I said. And what do they get for consolation of winning? They get to play Creekwood, who's sitting there right now averaging 95 a game, 22, 23-0. Creekwood, number 1 in the state right now. That's kind of fool's gold because I really think the CPA probably ought to be ranked number 1. I hope to see them on a collision course. I'd love to see them play because CPA can put it up better than anybody. I've said this all year long. I believe it with all my heart. They're their best outside shooting team that I've seen in high school sports.
Unbelievable. And they've got some athletes too. And then they got the big, the Adams youngster, the football player who's going to Western Kentucky University. I didn't know he was that good. He's a great inside presence, got touch. So, but Creekwood now, if they're on fire, they can fill it up. Well, it's gonna be. I hope we get to see it.
They're going to come out full court press. They remind me of the old Perry County teams. We're not going to play a lot of defense. We're going to play hard on the first 10 seconds. You get by us, that's great. You better score because we're down 3 passes and letting it fly.
That's right.
We're going to get 95. Join us.
That's right.
Nobody can join them. So it's be interesting to see how that goes. Waverly sitting in 2nd place, extremely athletic. I tell you what, Creekwood has made Waverly look terrible in 2 games. Beat them both times, 20-plus points. Les Trotter's group right now sitting in a pretty good seat in that 2nd place to probably play East Hickman. Fairview has moved out of last in that district above East Hickman, and it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. To round off 3rd, Camden sitting in 3rd, Montgomery Central in 4th, Hickman County sitting in 5th, doing a good job there, have moved up the ladder, got themselves to 500 in the district. Stewart County in 6th, Fairview in 7th, East Hickman in 8th. Be interesting to see how that plays out. I think we all know how to play out that Waverly, Creekwood probably in the finals, but it'd be interesting to see who all gets in those top 4 slots to get into the region tournament.
That's right.
So
big gap between the top 2 and the rest of them. But hey, if nothing else, just one more time to suit up with your teammates, play a game, have some fun.
Absolutely. Page in the other Division II group, 9-15 right now, 2-6, lost to Cascade 51-62. I know that They're probably disappointed with that. Figured they were going to beat Cascade in that, but they play at Giles County Friday, which ought to be a win. You saw Giles County play here not too far long ago. Giles County really struggling.
Hard to believe that that's a Giles County basketball team, but it is what it is. Page, talk about a team. They're so close. They're so close. So they need to get that one. I don't know if they can even get to third now with Cascade. But if they put it together in the tournament, it's not like the Fairview district where Creekwood and Waverly are just light years ahead of everybody else. Obviously CPA is, but I think from 2 to 6, Page can beat anybody in there.
I don't disagree right now. Marshall County is kind of up and down with their team. Don't know what they're going to get. Cascade, Page, throw them in a bag, pull it out.
Yeah.
What's amazing to me right now is at some point in time, coaching is involved. That's the bottom line.
That's right.
When it comes down to it. Spring Hill and Giles County are sitting at the bottom of this district. Unbelievable to me. If you see either one of those two teams play, athletes, if you'd have told me 5 years ago, a year ago, that Giles County would be in last place in this district. Now, I'm not expecting them to beat CPA every single night, but to be in last place, I would have told you I would have taken that bet all day, every day.
Right.
Sitting
Don't get
in
beat
last
by
place,
60.
Sitting in last place. Interesting to see how this comes out. I don't know if it comes to a mental part of the game too. Have the kids bought in, or are they completely said, we're done, ready to get the season over with? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I hope Page kids continue fighting. Like you said, they're close, they're scrappy, not a superstar-laden team. So interesting to see low and ugly, slow and low, and that's fine. Any way to get the W to advance.
That's right.
Brentwood sitting right now, number 1 in the district, obviously. Dennis King's group, 22-5, 9-2. Battle of the Woods, unbelievable. We're behind the entire game, got down by double figures late, never got rattled. I watched Coach King the whole time, never got rattled, never got emotional. Kept telling this team, we're going to hang in this thing, be around at the end. We're going to end up, good things will happen. Sure enough, here come the turnovers, here come the missed shots, here come the quick shots. Brentwood stayed in there, hung in there, and ended up getting the win down the road.
Yeah, you hear it's a buzzword. You hear fight, claw, tough, grit. They did it. I cannot help but think experience came into play here. Grant Teichman's a senior. They've got seniors, juniors, been to 2 straight state tournaments, 5 straight 21 seasons, and they did. Coach King was telling them, hang in there. Every possession. They hit their free throws. They came back and won. Experience played a big part in that. I got to give Coach Whitlock credit. He always comes up. You can bank on it every year. He comes up with an unbelievable game plan against Brentwood every single year, and you just know, doesn't matter what the gap in talent is, that's going to be a great game.
Well, you know how much I love Grant Teichman. I've been singing his praises all year long. I think he's the best player in the district. And I'm sitting over there watching him play tonight. He struggled. Jalen Lawson struggled. I look up at the board, Teichman's got 17. I'm thinking, where did that come from? Could not make a shot. Bless his heart, couldn't buy a basket down the stretch. But he's there. He got one of the biggest plays of the game. He gets an offensive board, put back. Just those small things, making his free throws down the stretch. Brentwood right now looks vulnerable, but unbelievable win to fight and scratch and claw out a win against Ravenwood.
That's right. And I'll tell you another one, Toe Batista. He's not going to show up with 15, 20, 25 points in a game. But what he does on the defensive end, what he does, the hustle points, the rebounds, I thought he played great. He is a big part of that thing too. Just a good win, a very, very good win.
I happened to be standing beside Jason Lane Maxwell. Jason and I are close friends. He's, of course, a head baseball coach at Ensworth. He played at Marshall County back in the days, and we were just talking about, we played against each other. And we talked about playing in front of these kind of crowds. Of course, we had great crowds, but we were to the point that we were ready to suit up Friday night. It was just that much emotion in the building. It's just unbelievable. What a great – I would have loved to have coached in that environment. So, once again, that was Brentwood, 22-5, 9-2, sitting in first place. Centennial, 8-14, 4-7. Lost at Indy, 41-56. They play Summit Friday to finish up. That could be a big game for Centennial.
Could. Kind of like the girls, we got to see them play Ravenwood. KJ LaSure. Anytime you got him on the court, you got a chance. I love that kid. He's a joy to watch.
Just to show how close it was. They were tied for 4th, and then they dropped all the way to 6th on that one loss. So that's Centennial. Franklin, 12-11, 6-4. Lost to Old Sparty, 70-74. For the first time in school history, Summit goes and beats Franklin. Roller coaster ride for Coach Wilson there, up and down. Which Rebel team's going to show up? We don't know. They win out. Brentwood loses one. They win the district outright. unfortunate to go in. Old Sparty has something else to think about that. And now they have to go and play at Indy Friday, which is not, once again, that could drop them back and give Ravenwood or somebody a chance to slide into that spot.
Yeah, anytime you have Franklin and you see they're matched up with Summit and or Indy, Brentwood maybe, matchup problems. They pose bad matchups for them because they're the biggest team in the league. Teams with really good guard play, especially a couple of them, if they're playing well, bad matchup for Franklin. The Carter boys, both in double figures, they both played really well. Summit gets a huge win. That's great for them. I still think if Franklin can make it to the tournament healthy, 100% healthy, I think they got a chance to come out of this thing in the winter.
Absolutely, but we've kind of said their weak spot would probably be their guard play, which Indy has arguably two of the best guards in. That brings us to Indy, 14-13. Here's your junkyard dog. What a job Greg Glass has done. They were dead in the water 2 weeks ago. 5-game losing streak. They've come back. They've won 3 in a row to get themselves back to 500. 12-12 on the year, 5-5. 14-13. A game above 500. 5-5 in the district in the conference play there. Beat Centennial 56-41, who had been playing pretty good up to that point. That also brings us to the play of the week by Grayson Murphy in the open court. We'll be right back.
Can't have it. Somebody's got to knock down a shot for Centennial. Murphy, he's about to make somebody look silly. Schrader lost the ball. I love the hustle, though, as they're trying to get back down court. And Murphy puts it in.
We've been saying it all year long. Grayson Murphy in the open court. The Murphy brothers for Indy right now can finish as good as anybody, just when you don't think they can. Back, forth, excellent spacing, IQ level very high. Can finish as good as any guard in the conference.
Oh, yeah, and they run the floor well, too. So that was an unbelievable play, athletic play. He's fun to watch. Both of them are, but Grayson's really fun to watch.
We still have 2 more years to watch him, too. That's just crazy. The play at Franklin Friday, that'll be a huge game. Ravenwood, roller coaster continues for Coach Whitlock, 12-12, 5-5. Lost to Brentwood, 59-55. Have lost 2 in a row. They, right now sitting in third place, tied right now for third place with Indy and with Old Sparty. These games are such crucial games to get into the tournament. Who are you going to play with? What is your best matchup? For instance, if I have to get matched up with Franklin, for some people that's not a big deal. But for me, that may not be a post-heavy team. That could cause a lot of problems. On the flip side of that, if they get matched up with a guard-heavy team, that doesn't bode well for them. So you're playing the matchup game right now. Who has the advantage going into the matchups? And right now, you got 3 teams tied for third. Anything can happen.
Yeah, the Centennial game a couple weeks ago, that was tough for Ravenwood. Big win for Centennial. They needed that one, coming up with the Brentwood and the Franklin game. So they're the deepest team in the league, but they probably don't have a guy who's going to go out and average over 20 points. So they're the team that if they really need a total team effort every night, especially come tournament time.
Well, I'll tell you what, I watched them in depth for the first time last Friday at Brentwood. I'm very pleased with their play. They have a left-handed guard, name escapes me, played really, really well for them. He's probably 8 to 9, maybe even 10 deep. Nick Barton. We've talked about Nick Barton all year. He brings a lot of things to the table. Plays hard, plays good defense, rebounds. If there's a loose ball, you can book it.
That's
Nick
right.
Barton's coming up with it.
Tough kid.
He's a tough kid. I like the things that he runs. Of course, I'm a little biased to what's on the board behind me. Throws a couple high-low sets there. Spreads the floor well. I like Coach Whitlock's team. I think that mentally they've been up and down all year long. I'll take my chances with Ravenwood going into the tournament with who they get matched up with to advance to the region tournament.
Yeah, and they have a sophomore, Elon Smallwood, okay? He had 21 the first time against BHS, Brentwood High, and he had 25 against Indy. So any night he gets hot, that makes him that much tougher to play. And remember, he's just a sophomore, so you never know. He gets hot in the tournament, Ravenwood's got a really good chance.
And he's got the best body as a guard.
He's good looking.
He's 6'2", long, lanky, athletic. He played well the other night. It was a great game. It really was. I like the way that Coach Whitlock's team played. I love the way that Coach King's team hung in there and got that win. I'm still thinking, and I'm sure he's thinking the same way, how in the world did we come out of it with a win? But they did. And, this is going to be great. This tournament is going to be fantastic. But Old Sparty right now sitting at 16-8, 5-5, 500 in the conference. They've beaten Franklin this year, and they've beaten let's see.
They got Indy.
Indy. They've
Indy
beaten
first time.
Centennial. They've beaten some teams for the first time in school history this year. Ravenwood and Franklin for the first time in school history. 74-70, have won 2 in a row. They play at Centennial with a lot of implications on the line there. They don't want to lose that game because it can slide them back. So right now they're playing really, really well. Brentwood sitting on top. Franklin sitting in second place right now, tied for third. Ravenwood, Indy, and Summit sitting in sixth place, Centennial, and in last place, Dixon. This is going to be a run. I'm telling you, the district tournament. You better get your tickets, get there, watch it. It's going to be fantastic. Great basketball action. There'll be parity in every single matchup that we have this year.
And it's going to be at Franklin High School, I believe, so maybe a little home court advantage for the Rebels. But you're right. We talked about the gap and some of these other ones. This one is, I would say, outside of Dixon County, any given night, any one of these teams can beat the other.
All right, time for the pick'ems, our favorite part of the show. Here we go. I'm sitting at 14-12. You're sitting at 17-9. Once again, you figure out a way to scratch and claw and get your own wins here. Fairview versus Camden. Let's go down the girls' side first.
Yellow Jackets, Lady Yellow Jackets.
I'm going to go with you. Pump the brakes there. Camden sitting right there in second place behind Creekwood. I think they're too much. I'm going to go Camden to finish out the season there, beating Fairview. Page at Giles.
Page.
I'm going to also go against you. I got to go against you. I got to get some wins here. I'm going to go Giles County Lady Bobcats getting a victory there. Centennial at Summit.
I'm going with Tony Hill and the Lady Cougars. I think they're playing well, man. Just remember I said it.
All right, Creed, you're going to love this. I'm going Old Sparty of always. Lady Spartans pull me a victory there. Centennial is playing well. Should be an interesting matchup. Ravenwood versus Dixon.
As much as I want to, I got to go with Dixon County. They're good.
Pump the brakes. Mariska Harris, get me one right here. We owe her about 3 wins for game days. I hope she goes in and gets a big one. Ravenwood pulls a big upset there. Franklin versus Indy.
Lady Rebels.
I'm going to have to agree. Lady Rebels playing well. Boys side, Fairview versus Camden.
Camden.
2 of the last 3, unfortunately. Camden's playing pretty good basketball. I'm going to go with you on Camden. Page versus Giles.
I think Page can beat him. We already talked about it, so
Absolutely.
I got to go with Page now.
Anybody versus Giles. Page wins that one, guarantee it. Centennial at Summit. Old Sparty.
Whew. Old Sparty.
Old Sparty gets another one there. Closes the year out. Getting themselves prepared for the tournament. Ravenwood versus Dixon.
Ravenwood gets back on the win column.
I believe that's right. That's a good game, good matchup for Coach Whitlock's group to go in. They're going to be throwing all kinds of junk at them, different defenses, getting ready for the tournament. It's a good opportunity to get a win mentally going into the tournament. I'm going to agree. Ravenwood wins that game. Franklin at Indy Friday.
This is the closest of all the ones we've got. I'm going with the Murphy boys and Indy. Coach Glass, they're playing well, man. They're playing well.
Well, it's all depending on Garrison Mathews right now. If he shows up, plays well, Franklin could roll, but I'm going with you. Last game day of the year, we're going to close out at Indy. Indy Nation gets them a win right there to make this just even more clear than mud than it already is.
That's right.
Well, thank you for joining us here on WCS Sports Connection Game Day. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls. With me, as always, is Tate Mathews. We'll see you next time.
What should I make my password? Oh, I know. I'll make my password password. Passwords should be unique, private, non-personal, and secure. Use more than one word. Use different character classes, use symbols and numbers, and use multiple passwords for different sites. And always remember never to share your passwords.
If we want to keep the blue in the sky, the green in the trees, we better care for the air we breathe. That it would truly be a breath of fresh air when we all can see forever through the air we breathe. So let's really try to be more aware of what we can do to clean up the air we all share. So let's you and me roll up our sleeves. Let's do all we can and care for the air